A lot of you have commented on this car in the background. I've mentioned it a few times. And it's time to fess up and say I've probably made a bit of a mistake. Now, if you watch the channel for a long time, and credit to you if you've stuck with it this long, you'll remember many moons ago I had a red 106 Rallye. And that's what this is, a 106 Rallye, and it is a Series 1. So I just happened to be scrolling through Manor Park Classics a little while ago, their online catalogue. Obviously, you know that I'm quite friendly with Sam from Manor Park Classics, who is the Southern, what's her new channel called? The Old Car Lady, I think she's called a new channel. I'll put a link to it down below. Who's an oracle about everything on classic cars. She's my go-to for advice on classic cars. She's obviously day in, day out seeing what's going on with the market. And yeah, I happened to see this up on the Manor Park auction. And I have to admit, it was a Friday. And I spotted it just before I went down to the pub to meet my friends. So this is setting the theme for what happened here. And obviously I had an idea of what I was prepared to bid on this car, and I ended up going quite a bit over. I didn't really read the description that closely, and obviously being an online auction, I didn't get to see the car. And rather than go and see it myself, I just sent Adrian to pick it up and paid the guy in advance. So I didn't really have any opportunity to do any negotiations either on it. The description was that it needed some welding on the inner wing, which I'm totally used to, and on the sill. I'm totally used to that because we had to have the same thing done on the 106 GTI and also on my 106 Rallye, which is where they rot underneath the battery tray. Very common one. There were no pictures of what that was, and so I just assumed that's what it was going to be. So the car, we'll have a look around the car, and then I'll show you that welding. Now, of course, the best way to learn a little bit more about the 106 Rallye we've got here is to run a car vertical on it. If you're unaware somehow of who Car Vertical are, they have the largest online database of vehicle information available, which means you can find out the true history of any vehicle you're looking to buy. Or perhaps in this case, the history of a car you've already bought. Car Vertical is going to tell us some very important information on this, like are there any mileage discrepancies and has the vehicle ever been written off before? So I've got a couple of checks left. You can see my last check was for the Range Rover I bought. And it's bung in the registration of the little Peugeot. You can do it via the VIN number or the registration. HN, check vehicle. Let Car Vertical do its thing. So report is back for the 106 and we've got green ticks. We're all okay apart from it failed its last technical inspection. Mileage is okay, no record of accident damage, no record of theft. No mileage 136, that time's in. Let me show an example there of why it's so important to do these checks though before you buy a vehicle. Check out this report from when a Crosslander was run through Car Vertical. Car Vertical alerts straight away that there's been a long period with no mileage change detected, which starts to ring alarm bells. There was also 2 records for damage on the vehicle. If we scroll down, we can see we actually have pictures here on Car Vertical of the damage to the vehicle, which is pretty severe. You can see the front end is really badly damaged. But then 2 years later, the vehicle comes up for sale again, looks like an auction, and you'd have no idea whatsoever the car had that level of damage. Don't forget, as I always like to remind you, that only dealers in the UK are legally obliged to tell you if a car has got an accident damage history. A private seller can sell you a vehicle like this without having to declare it at all, making it even more important that we do these checks over here prior to purchase. Good news is, if you'd like to check out the history of a car you're about to buy, or one perhaps you've already bought, then Car Vertical have hooked you up with a 20% discount if you use the code CHOPSGarage. I will also put a link directly to it in the video description down below. Just a quick history thing for you if you don't know what these cars are all about. Obviously it's a 1990s little 106 Peugeot with a 1.3 normally aspirated engine in it that puts out 100 brake horsepower. You might say it doesn't sound like a lot, but the car weighs absolutely nothing. I'll probably find the figure and put it on the screen down below. And these are renowned for being one of the most fun point-to-point back roads cars you can drive. Now Peugeot made these because obviously they were competing at the time in a 1300cc rally group, and they needed to have a certain amount of road cards made in order to enter that. I'm going to say the word now. Is it rally homologation? I always get the word wrong. But they had to make a certain number of these, so they were limited in numbers. A white is by far and away the most popular colour. The last one I had was a red one. And the values of these have been going up and up and up because they just don't make cars like this anymore, do they? Super lightweight, not a huge amount of horsepower, but you can drive the wheels off them and have a lot of fun at not silly speeds. So the values, like I say, have been going up and up and up and up and up, where, to be honest, to buy anything other than a project, you're spending about 10 grand on one now. Now, in my previous videos from a while back, I bought the red one. And if you remember, I think we had to do the head gasket because it had a head gasket leak on it. So we did the head gasket on it. We had to repair rot around the sunroof. But the rest of the car was pretty solid. The paint was a bit faded, but we didn't restore it. We just painted the wheels back up again. I drove it around for a bit and then I sold it on. I think I sold it for about £7,000, which surprised everybody at the time. But obviously they've taken on further since then. I have been on the lookout to get another one because it was one of those cars that you just get in for the hell of it. There's not many cars where you just decide to go for a drive just for the sake of going for a drive, or you decide to, on the way home, go the long way round. And this is one of the few cars you can do it in. People absolutely loved it as well. I got thumbs up wherever I went. It was a really cool car. It's the kind of thing, like I say, you can do a track day in it, you can daily it to work and it won't cost too much to run. You can turn up at a car show and you'll fit in absolutely everywhere. Wheels, for starters, really nice. Painted the right colour. Decent tread on the tyres. Bodywork down this side is pretty good. These always fade, these stickers fade up quite a bit, but these are in better condition than normal. I think it's supposed to have black mirror covers. I need to double check that, but both mirrors have gone. I think the wiring's gone in there somewhere, so we need to sort those out. Luckily, they aren't too hard to get hold of. We can just change the mirror caps over as well to the correct ones. Yeah, bodywork seems good. We haven't got any rot around the sunroof like mine did, which is a good thing. That's all nice around there. Got a couple of little dings in a panel there at the back. Doesn't bother me too much. Rear bumpers in nice condition. We've got an aftermarket exhaust system on there. I'm quite a standard guy. I like all my cars to be standard. So I would probably change that if possible, but I'll live with it for the moment. I love this on the wing mirror. So obviously the wiper blade is totally disintegrated. And to stop anyone causing any damage in between, it's been wrapped up with some masking tape, some electrical tape, rather than just replace the actual wiper blade, which is brilliant. Yeah, wheels down this side are good. Again, the bodywork down here isn't too bad. I think we've got a bit of a ding in the door there. These are all PDR dents, so that can be taken out by the paint guy. We have got a bit of bubbling down here. It doesn't look like it's got too far. Actually, if we catch that now, I think that's going to be okay. So we can get the bodywork off. Catch that, shouldn't need to disturb the original stickers there either. That'll be a good thing. White's obviously an easy colour to paint as well. Again, all the cabling's gone in the mirror on that side. We've got some bubble and rot up here. I think we're going to have to get the windscreen out for that one. I think anything other than not doing, I think if we don't do that, we're not going to catch what's actually going on there. There's a little bit over there as well. Definitely worth doing that. On my windscreen guy, I'll come and do that and take it out. So actually, bodywork wise, not a lot to do. It's really quite tidy. Obviously, this good old machine polish, this will buff up nice. As I say, white is the most popular colour. I do prefer white myself as well. All the headlights are good. So we're looking good. We're looking good on that front. If we go inside, they always fade on the interior. This one's no different. They always go to sort of fade to a purple, sort of a light purpley colour, but all the fabric's in good condition. The carpets are excellent. The back seat is in good condition as well. Headliner doesn't really show any sign of any water ingress, and that's all in good condition. We're missing the original stereo, which is a shame. But again, we can get those out of any old 106. So that's all looking smart. We've got the original keypad down there, which no one's disconnected so far, but we will, because it's just a pain in the bum. Now we're going to start to get to a few of the horrors. So we've got some rust up here on the boot lid, which again is very common. A little bit of a hole looks like it's coming through there, so the boot lid will have to come off and that'll have to be done. But in the boot here, we've got some horrible welding. They do rot in here quite a lot, but this is some nasty, nasty welding down here. I mean, structurally it's sound, but it looks a bit chicken pooey. And obviously, it's just this, yeah, obviously it would be nice if that had been butt welded and rather than just welded over the top. So we're going to have to start stripping that down, getting into the wheel arches and inspecting what's gone on there and deciding what to do. Obviously we can try and get hold of panels, or we can just grind some of this down and tidy it up. As it's going to be probably the car I use quite a bit, probably that would be the option. We just want to check that the metal work inside the arches, that we haven't got stuff. Oh yeah, it's going through quite a bit there, isn't it? We've got to make sure that we haven't got any tin worm on the outside where they just patched over the top of it. What was the mileage on this one? I can't remember. I think it was 133, this one. 136,000 miles maybe. So we will do a refresh on the engine as well. We'll probably do fresh, take the head off, get that all cleaned up by the guys down at Barham, put a cam belt on it, check the bores while we're there, and see how that all looks. They tend to be tough little engines. Obviously they were built for rally, and they will absolutely rev their bits off, these Rallies. Where is the bonnet release on these? Oh, I'm going to the wrong place. Over there, isn't it? Yeah, I think the red, where's the red line on these? Is it like 7,000? I mean, I remember driving mine around, it just absolutely revs for days. There is no red line. Oh, it's there. It's there after 7,000 RPM is the red line. The bonnet release is underneath there. Right, this is where the horrors start, guys. Obviously the boot was bad enough, but if we get into here, yeah. So I suspected we would have a hole down here, which is quite common, and it's starting to go that side, so we'll have to get all that out. That turret's good that side, but this one is completely disintegrated. If you drive it around, that suspension strut could come through the bonnet. It looks like it's got an aftermarket spring on it. It could come through the bonnet, couldn't it? So you can see it's basically rusted away from where water's sat on it all the way down the side there. So it's not a case of going out and just enjoying it as it is. We need to get straight into the metal work on it. One big bonus, original airbox. Now, if anyone knows anything about 106 Rallies, these were always ditched in favour of a cone filter, and then the airboxes were thrown away. Airboxes are worth an absolute fortune now because they're so rare. You're just nigh on impossible to get hold of. Now, obviously, I expect we'll find some more crustiness underneath it when we get it on the ramp. They did say it needed some work on the sills, I think. I'm not familiar. Yeah, look at that. We've got a lot of crustiness going on here. There's some holy stuff down there. Look at that. So we've got a bit of metal working to do down there. This is all just standard crusting. This is from people misjacking the car and bending the lip up. So we'll go along here, sort all this out as well. But basically what I've done is, at a time when I haven't finished any of my other projects, I've taken on another project, haven't I? That's what I've done. Now, big bonus with this car, let me show you a second. Spare parts. We've got all the spare parts, including we've been given that entire panel. We've got that entire panel to go in the car. So that does simplify things quite a bit, because we can find all the spot welds, drill them all out, take that entire section out, and then weld the new section in. We've got a replacement rear beam if you want it, torsion bar beam. We've actually got the wing mirror there. We've got at least one wing mirror there. We might have two. And they're the proper black ones, which I think the 106 is supposed to have. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forget what that panel's there for. That might be the one underneath the car that I was pointing out was crusty earlier. Yeah, we have got two wing mirrors. We've got a spare rear light. I don't know why we've got a spare heater, so we'll check if the heater's working a bit later. Gear lever, cables, all kinds of good stuff there. So we are, I mean, these would have been really hard parts to find, wouldn't they? God knows what that panel there is probably worth. So that's a big bonus. Is it worth the investment? What have I got into it now? Probably with fees and everything else, probably about 6k into it, something like that, I would have thought, and delivery, which, to be honest, isn't too bad a price, because a little bit of work and we could easily have a 10k plus car. Perhaps even more, because the ceiling for this is about £20,000 for fully restored. Now, obviously, we're not going to go fully restored, but if we do decide to cut that metal out and get a decent boot floor pan from another car and butt weld it in and make all that nice, take the windscreen out and do that, take the boot lid off and do that, welding that new one, take the engine out and all the other parts and respray all inside the engine bay properly, put it back together, then it's probably worth more like 12-ish, I'd have thought. So there's plenty of room for manoeuvre in it. Now, this 106 does have a record for having the most amount of owners I've had on any car so far. Former keepers, 15. Now, does that give you the idea potentially that a few people thought they were going to be able to get this project done and never did? I suspect so. We've got the owner's handbook there, warranty and maintenance book. I don't suppose this is a stamping book, is it? No, it just tells you. Where did it come from? It came from London originally. Registered in 1994. And what have we got stamp-wise in it? We've got a few stamps. 9,000, 18,000, 88, 88, 89. That's it, isn't it? What's that up to then? Up to 58,000 miles. Nothing after that. Let's have all the original handbooks though. Don't know what that's about. It says car editor Brett Fraser on there with a contact number. I don't know what that's all about. Was this featured in the magazine at some point? It was on the 106 Rallye register for quite a while, judging by how faded that sticker is as well. So it'll be a known car within the register, no doubt. So as I said, looks like we've got a project on our hands, but it's definitely one I want to get done. So we will find the time to get their work done, even if we outsource the welding and so forth. It's a car I definitely want to own for a bit. See, if you're looking for a 106 that's ready to go, we still have our 106 GTI that has had all the work done already. Cam belt, water pump, MOT, everything. You may well have seen that I drove this car up to the Rustival Festival, which was a good sort of probably I did a 8-hour round trip on that. Ran like a little champ. So yeah, if you don't want to take on projects, which you very sensibly shouldn't, then you can have a go at the raffle on this. I'll put a link in the video description down below. There isn't long to go on this car, actually. I think tickets are £2 a ticket, and there's bundles where you can get a load of free tickets if you buy a certain amount. So learn from my mistakes and just get one that's all ready to go already. As always, many thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.